if there happens to be an October surprise in the election, could it actually not be a surprise at all and be right in front of us right now? We know that container cargo coming into this country right now jumped, the price, or the amount of it jumped basically 13% last month compared to the year before. Now, the sudden rush is in part due to front-running a looming strike. As the head of the International Longshoremen's Association, that's the largest union of maritime workers, could soon hit the picket line in just a few weeks.
The ILA most definitely will hit the streets on October 1st if we don't get the kind of contract we deserve.
All right, so let me walk you through why this is such a big deal. So this is the ILA, the Longshoremen's Association. They work at the ports basically starting all the way up at Boston, down to Miami, across Florida, and out to New Orleans. There's 13 of them that could potentially be impacted or at least be involved with this strike. Now, what would that mean for containers? Remember, this is stuff that brings goods into the country that you buy and that you pay for. Right now, that port traffic from those sites brings in about 20 million containers a year, or basically 55,000 containers per day. What's in a container? Those 20-foot containers or so? Here's one way to look at it. You could put 200 full-size mattresses in a container, 48,000 bananas, 50 to 60 refrigerators, give or take, or 400 flat-screen televisions, right? Now start multiplying that. Now, the strike could happen a month before the election, as I talked about, starting on October 1st. And we talk about the swing states all the time, right? One of those ports is in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. And look at what it would mean if they go on strike there in Georgia. For example, $3.8 billion in taxes, they say, to the Georgia economy. The port there is the fourth busiest one in the United States. All right. Now, what are they asking for? These are the demands. It includes a 77% pay increase over 6 years and no automated terminals. Remember, with the UAW strike that we saw, they wanted pay increases in the 40 or 50% range. And again, automation was a big deal. Now, I mentioned holiday shopping, right? The National Retail Federation is already coming out, and here's what they say. For retailers, that means holiday shipments might not arrive on time. Could you imagine the scenario if there is a massive strike on October 1st involving the ports on the East Coast? Mick Mulvaney, former budget director, former White House chief of staff in the Trump administration, NewsNation contributor, come on in. I'm on to something here, right? Mick, you don't think this is nuts to talk about right now and that this could be a big story here in a couple weeks?
You know, Burman, I have to give you credit. I don't know what you read in your free time, but the two stories you sent me were the National Retail Federation and FreightWaves.com. No one else is talking about this. This could really, really be a big deal. You're open about how is the October surprise right in front of us right now here on September 11th. The answer may be yes. My guess is that our Democrat friends in the panel tonight didn't know anything about this before tonight. I certainly didn't know much about it. But I got to tell you, they are not sitting comfortably right now. Because Democrats, they're supposed to be pro-labor, but if these longshoremen go out on strike on October 1st, the impacts on the economy a month before the election could be absolutely dramatic. It could be earth-shattering. It could be the type of thing that changes an outcome. That's correct.
And the National Retail Federation is already calling on the White House to get involved here. And you can imagine, Mick, if it gets to that point, the question is going to be, Madam Vice President, should they strike? If you're pro-union, should they strike or not?
It's a real uncomfortable situation for the Democrats. However, the longshoremen's political leverage is never going to be higher than October 1st. And you can imagine them going to the administration, who might be involved, could be involved. Joe Biden walked the picket line during the UAW thing, might start bringing down pressure on the ports to accept a deal so that there is no strike on October 1st. Because right now, the longshoremen, that language is pretty clear. They're striking. Unless they get a deal, they are striking on October 1st.
Yeah. You talk about real quick the pressure on the Democrats, but what would Donald Trump say? You know him as well as anyone.
He'd say that it was Biden's fault, that this should have been done a long time ago. They should have seen this coming. They told us back in 2021 that inflation was caused by supply chain bottlenecks. We had difficulty out of the port at Long Beach. They should have seen this one coming. If I had been president, we never would have had this problem. That's exactly what I'd say.
All right, Mick Mulvaney, former White House Chief of Staff.
By the way, Mick, Aaron and I knew about this.
We knew about this, Mick.
How dare you, sir?
How you besmirch our names like this.
Come on.
Come on.
We're prepared.
But I'm on to something
how is
here,
it
right?
possible?
Sorry, Mick. We read the news.
Yeah, we pay attention to things here.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.